I forgot where it cut off because my camera just went out, but so Doe said that her vehicle burned out because of the amount of next level mind that she was pulling in to that vehicle. That the vehicle was driven to pull in by the mind that came into it, which was only part of T's mind. T's mind was capable of having other vehicles, one or more other vehicles, but didn't need all that mind. But the mind that she did need, she brought, and was able to was what constituted all the advancements of this planet. Because when they came, they said that this was the time that there was a light extended on this planet that would provide advancement for all life forms. And so that's why we see even animals now acting like humans. Like I saw a video the other day acting like good humans. I saw a video the other day of a dog that was hit by a car on a freeway, and was kind of like in the middle of like a 3 or 4 lane freeway, I think in Chicago somewhere maybe, and another dog that was a stray went out and pulled that dog off the highway with its front legs, and pulling that dog, sliding across the pavement, and pulled it to safety, and the dog that was hit actually lived, because a work crew that was nearby saw this happening, and so they went and took care of the dog that was hit by the car. So I mean, that's amazing. See, that's a dog that the mind of that dog had grown to a capacity of not thinking about self so much, so that Tiendo said that there are some human beings, not all, that are barely able to run the computer of a human's brain. And so they may seem like to another human, they may seem retarded. I don't know if that's part of the autism, or if that autism is primarily due to the toxicity of the planet, or it's a combination of the two. Because what we're talking about is the genetic tree that that mind also travels on. And I'm not exactly sure how the interface develops of the mind of the animal, because that could actually then become the mind of a human. I don't know exactly. Tiendo didn't explain that, and I don't have an understanding of that, so I won't linger on it. But just because we can't understand many aspects of how this all works doesn't mean that it's not real. It just means that we can't understand it yet. But if we stay on track, we can understand it eventually, if we stay with the originators of this. And how do we know who those are? Well, sometimes we have to take a little chance based on the data that we have to examine it, and be willing to push through the things that, you know, boggle our mind and make us fearful. So what does Lucifer and Satan and the adversaries run? Oh, I didn't finish with the adversaries. So those that become part of the next level classroom, or those that have a potential, those human vehicles that have a potential, the elect, the remnant, that is the greater genetic pool that the next level developed by coming each time, every 1,000 or 2,000 years, or however the intervals were, where they sent a member to the next level, and worked and had therefore experience in their database of the fact that there are next level members that can do things that are magical to them initially, but become less and less magical as the evolution takes place to where science is keeping up with it. And then that's provided in the next level mind that comes is how to do things and how to understand things comes with that. And so that even scientists that aren't part of a next level classroom, if they really want to know something and it's been provided, can pull on it and keep on experimenting and looking for the answers, and eventually either a next level member will say, okay, we'll give you a little bit. And so they give them a little bit and they have a breakthrough. Or that just happens because they've accumulated enough of that mind and they have an accident in what they're doing, and all of a sudden they see that this is possible. And then they keep on trying to duplicate the accident, and all of a sudden now they've learned that there's this dark energy or this dark matter, and that seems to be invisible to our eyes, but seems to be causing objects in the heavens to change their speed or change their direction. And little do they know that the next level put those things there and orchestrated those things in order to change the directions of comets and things like that, or planetary orbits. So they don't get that. They don't get the knowledge of necessarily of who put it there, except perhaps like Einstein believed that, having seen what he saw, that there had to be a greater intelligence. And to make that intelligence into a nebulousness, like, as if even the database of a computer wasn't built by beings, is basically is throwing the baby out with the bathwater, as they say, basically, because they're fearing that they would become religious, which is understandable to abhor what religion is, because religion is man-made. The kingdom of God doesn't make religion. Religion is made by the distortion of and the dilution of what the next level brings in real information. The humans can only understand so much at a time, whether it's scientific information about the physical nature of our environment, or it's scientific information about the mental dimensional electromagnetic frequency structures of our environment. And so it has to be spoon-fed to humans, so to not blow their circuits. So that goes back to the match. So for the next level members, the upcoming next level members, the crop that's growing, the saints, the ones that are repeatedly brought back to have an interface with a new human vehicle that is a match for what they accumulated in growth and lessons at the previous time that they were interfacing with a human vehicle, like in the Jesus days, the disciples of Jesus. They're brought back, those souls, to have a new experience. They're saved from that previous, so that they don't go into the spirit world and mingle with all the other spirits and basically eventually be recycled. They're kept aside in paradise, or Abraham's bosom, basically a spacecraft that's within the environment of the Earth environment, and then they're brought back and they're given a new opportunity to try to take over a matching vehicle for them. Those are also have adversarial Luciferians trying to keep them from attaching to the next level minds that are being brought in through the older members that are taking vehicles. So when those older members actually incarnate with enough of their mind to where they take those vehicles around the country and blow the trumpet of announcing publicly that who they are, where they came from, then all the vehicles that were prepped invisibly by members of the next level in the crew that took those souls that were coming back and said, okay, we're going to pick human vehicles for you to occupy, to try to take over. That human vehicles that want to have a relationship with the next level. So they're not taking them over against their will. These are individuals that are the meek, that that cannot conceive of killing others for any reason, cannot conceive of breaking basically the laws that were given in the past by the next level, because they've got it ingrained in their genetic structure that those things are primitive. Those things are beneath them, and that there's more. And that there are higher beings, and they can be fooled by these next level members. But the next level members give them every opportunity to not be fooled, even to right now, after those next level members have left, primarily, even though they're still here, very much so, monitoring everything that's going on. So, and you can communicate with them by calling their names, T and Do. That's the direct way of communicating with the current membership of the next level that was manifest to us physically for 24 years. From 1970, from the early 1970s to, and they were manifest to us physically in frequency form before that. I don't know when, maybe the turn of the century, maybe they've always had a presence here. I believe they've always had some observational presence here, but so they haven't never actually left, I don't think, entirely. That might be impossible, because their mind is embedded in everything in the planet. But as far as, anyway, I'm getting off the track. So, but the bigger adversaries are working the hardest against those members that have responded to those older members that that blew the trumpet, and as T and Do did in Los Angeles, the city of God, the city of angels, city of God's angels, the New Jerusalem in a sense, because that's what Jerusalem meant, which Jesus said the kingdom of God will be given to a new nation, which is a new people, and said that Jerusalem had stoned the prophets and their house was going to be left desolate. So all those that think that Jesus is coming back there are wrong. Not coming back there. He's coming back to a new area, and he did already, as T and Do, the two witnesses, Father and Son, returned. Okay, now he's coming back again, as I've said, in other vehicles. But this time, it's not going to be through a human vehicle, although I believe you will see the same vehicles that were here from 1972 to 1997, including the faces of the students. Some, I believe, will see those faces again, because they want you to know that they were the real thing. They don't play games. They don't let us know, because we need to build a faith in them by the information that they brought, not by trickery, not by showing up, in the sky on a cloud, to where everybody that would see them would think, "Holy smokes, what is that?" But these days, we still wouldn't think that was anything. We would be mesmerized by it, but there'd be all kinds of people saying that was a hologram, because they've now mastered holograms with the HARP program or whatever, and so these are just projections, or these are the space aliens showing footage of the pictures that they took of those members of the Heaven's Gate cult. The Heaven's Gate cult were the space aliens, or the reptilians that were disguised. You have all these different things that would take place and are taking place right now as we speak. All those stories are being propagated out there to fool the elect, to fool people into thinking that there's nothing behind that Applewhite and Nettles and those students who were thought to be look retarded and nerdy and all that, who had washed their robes to where they were basically a clean slate. They were blank to the human condition. They were basically filled only with the mind of their older member, only wanted to please their I was totally single at that point, or significantly single, to where the next level said, okay, time is up, we're going to take you, and some of you we're going to give a next level vehicle to, because you've proven to us that you're trustworthy, and others have a little more work to do, and so we'll give you a temporary job, we'll give you an assignment of a corruptible vehicle that could turn, could drop out, like the Luciferians did, and we'll give you a spacecraft and a crew, and you can become observers of the human kingdom, you can become watchers, deliver messages, even walk among the humans at times, like they did in the Lot times, or in the time of Jesus, where there were members that showed up, usually in twos, and the way Jesus sent them out, the way T and Do sent us out, the way T and Do had us partnered throughout the 19 years that I was a class member. We were always partnered, because that was like the reason for marriage was to have to work with somebody else, because that takes us out of ourselves. It makes us a little less self-conscious, self-aware. I mean, it makes us more self-aware and more self-conscious because we get the view of somebody else. So we become less self-indulgent in thinking of ourselves as high and mighty, potentially, because we have somebody else facing us with our stuff. So Tindo said that there were assigned adversaries, assigned Satans, to those that were in the classroom, and they made sure to it that those assigned ones only had so much control over what they presented us with, which we called bombardment. We called them boogers, and we were taught how to guard against them, which became basically anything that our older members didn't give us. Was it important ultimately that we followed all the steps that our older members gave us? Yes. It was all very important. But if we had an infraction, that didn't mean that we were, punished in some way. We were just taught that that was a way in which we were allowing our vehicle to get its way, and usually that was under the influence of an adversary who wanted us to break the rules. Because if they could get us to break one of the rules, whether it was the smallest rule of not putting, of hiding an apple under our bunk when we weren't supposed to take food out of the Nutrilab, and were only to consume what was given to us in the experiments that we had 3 times a day, and the snacks that we occasionally had, like desserts at night and stuff. We weren't to have no pleasure at all. No, but it was supposed to be appropriate pleasure designed by the next level. If we were doing what was designed by the next level, there was no wrong in it. So if we were enjoying ice cream, there was no wrong in it. If we were enjoying camaraderie with others, having humorous times, enjoying a movie that we were sent to, there was no problem with it. But if we were enjoying sensuality in the form of sexuality, there was no place for that, because there is no sexuality in the next level. It is commonsensical, as well as a way to have our energy totally devoted to what we were going to need to have in order to actually drive a next level vehicle. A next level vehicle doesn't have an energy source derived from physical consumption of fuel. Those next level vehicles need to be run primarily by the mind that is accumulated, which is next level mind, and so that mind needs to be viable, and that's why the next level left the classroom here and kept the world events from happening, and the events in the United States and other places from from caving in on it to where what they were doing would have been thought of as illegal. There will be a time where groups that are doing the same kind of thing that the Heaven's Gate group were doing around the country, when they're found out about, if they announce themselves publicly and have meetings and stuff, there will be people that will come into those groups and say, and they will be reported by the public to agencies that will say these are dissidents, and these need to be getting rid of because they're like terrorists, because they're going against the structure that keeps us safe. So this will be national security. That will happen in the United States. Mark my word. And it's probably going to happen with the green or the pale green horse in the Revelations chapter 6. 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, which the first horse was doe, the white horse, the apple white horse. The second horse was the Bush administration, the Republicans, that now has morphed into the Democrats as well. It's the same thing at this point, and that's in Obama is the black horse, and with the balancing act that he's doing, which is the balance of power. Trying to keep the people civil and have the people have some of what they want and need and desire, while the red horse people, which is now the whole power structure, Democrats and Republicans and independents and everybody, basically everybody that's human, and that includes the religious, and that includes the scientists, includes the atheists, everybody basically that is against the real next level, which would be against Tiendo and the behaviors of the next level. Everybody that justifies behaviors that the next level didn't, that said there were commandments against. Anybody that's participating in killing or taking advantage of people or using people for experimentation or as guinea pigs for their drugs, and all those millions and millions of people that are working for those organizations are in degrees getting their substance from the beast, that is run by the Luciferians for their agenda, to create the underground bases, to hide from the next level, and to have a war in the heavens, to try to shoot down the spacecrafts of the next level, which humans are thinking are the space aliens, but they don't trust the space aliens. They don't know, but they're being told that some of the space aliens are good, and so they're trying to work with them, in a way that's like an ally with the Saudi Arabians, and which I'm not saying the Saudi Arabians are any worse than